The following is a community access program. Shaw is proud to support local producers and share local voices, ideas, and opinions. For more information, please visit shawtv.ca. Opinions expressed in this programming do not necessarily reflect the views of Shaw or its employees.
Okay, so that was Kelly from Northwestern Ontario. If you want to be a part of the show through a phone call or in person, we're going to tell you at the end of the show how to do that. In the meantime, we're going to go to some email questions. And yes, they are handwritten, as we were traveling yesterday, and I do not like to print my emails ahead of time. So this time it wasn't even a technical problem, considering it was me. That's pretty decent. It was actually the fact we weren't near a printer. So they are hand printed, but they are actual emails. So I do ask you to excuse how they look if you can see them, and I'm pretty sure you can. So let's move them a little bit. Okay, first one. This one comes from Molly in North Bay, and she says, "Hi Annie, recently I've fallen into a bit of a rough path in my life. I'm a graduating student who just finished exams, which was a lot of stress. I was forced to move out of my place within 4 days due to unfortunate circumstances. As a student, I'm facing financial difficulties, and of course, there is the stress of job hunting and rejection. All of this negative energy has been bringing me down. I'm wondering if there is any happiness coming my way, perhaps specifically in the form of obtaining a job within my field of studies, which is animal health and sciences. Thank you for your reading." Okay, let's see what that can find. That's a pretty specific field. So most likely we're going to have to go in centers that have more than one veterinary place, or make sure they have a zoo, or don't be shy, walk on through. If you want to be on air, you can feel free to have a seat, and if not, don't be shy. You just walk on through, look for clothes, whatever you need to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You just go on through. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull some cards on this. The first thing that's coming up without even doing this is sell yourself. I know this sounds terrible, but you almost have to pimp yourself out, okay? It's like walking into your own home and saying, "I own this," okay? It's no different than when you're job hunting. You got to kind of walk in and say, "I own this job. I want this job. It is mine at the end of the day." We got to start thinking of it on the plus side, especially when things have kind of been bogging us down, things like looking for a home, rejection, so on. You know, and your services, we are looking, or for what you've taken in studies, animal and health sciences, I imagine that's a fairly big graduating class with a limited amount of jobs. So let's see what it has to say. I do, however, feel there is work out there. Let's start maybe with volunteering at our closest, not shelter necessarily, but perhaps at our nearest zoo or place like that, animal sanctuary maybe, a refugee kind of place. Okay, yeah, it is showing that there's been an awful lot of topsy-turvy going on, a lot of hurts happening, and it does feel like where your home was concerned, that the reasons you were given weren't maybe necessarily the reasons, okay? But I think we're never going to really hear the full truth on that, but you know, there are legal rights to that if you want to take something to it. I believe most provinces are at least 30 days notice when, even if we have to leave for circumstances. Doesn't even feel to me it was a lease that was broken. Okay, so we're answering things a little bit all over the place, but it's also showing here that your own partner is also having trouble finding work in his field in your area. So maybe, I hate to say this, especially if you love your area, here's the decision card, and I was about to say maybe the choice has come to look at perhaps moving, okay? Now, do your certifications allow you to move into other provinces? Because if so, I could definitely feel you getting work out towards Saskatchewan. Now, that seems from North Bay, that's a little bit far away. But Saskatchewan really is a pretty decent place to be. I go there a lot, okay? They're very friendly, very nice, and they seem very accepting almost immediately. But let's maybe have a look and see what it would take to get you certified in certain provinces. Maybe there's a blanket certification we can take. You'd know that better than I would, okay? But in the meantime, it definitely does show if you're willing to move And there's the long distance card, the journey card. If you are willing to move and listening to your energy guide, look at what's coming up. The money card. I forget about this camera. I guess I could leave them on the table too. Okay, but in the meantime, it is showing listen to your instinct. Okay, I don't think the work is going to be right in the area you're at. Feels like there's way too much concrete, especially within a 4-hour radius of where you are now, and that's kind of how far I'd feel you'd minimum have to go from where you are. So to land that full-time position, both of you in a same community where you'll both like it, I do feel you'd have to go a minimum of 4 hours, so 400 kilometers or so from where you are. That's if we're sticking to speed limit, okay? Which we always do. And so with that, I do feel though, the bigger money, the more financial security, the long-term security, I do feel that Saskatchewan or beyond is kind of where you got to go, which is kind of leaving us with 2 provinces there. Unless you want to go straight vet tech, then you can go, of course, anywhere. But it does feel like you could go, that maybe preference actually seems to be wildlife, okay? So that's refugees, that's zoos, which means bigger centers. And I'm not sure about BC as far as farming communities and stuff like that goes, but I do know Saskatchewan and Alberta does definitely show those 2 borders. So I'm not even 100% sure of Manitoba, but I would start at least, you know, Google can be your best friend, and I would start Googling in Saskatchewan and see what's there. Because if we look, if you make a choice to move, again, I'm moving it and I don't have to. This is just so funny to me. There is, in your decision, there is success, and specifically in signing a contract. So that's usually signing the paperwork as far as employment goes, because we all have to fill out tax papers and so on. So I hope that answers your question. And I know you're in North Bay, so as soon as we figure out YouTube, we will certainly let you know how to get at that, okay? So you can see your answer. In the meantime, though, hopefully you have family or friends here that can kind of fill you in. Okay, we're on to the next question. This one comes from Jobless in Sioux Lookout. Sioux Lookout is a beautiful little area. You know, worth a drive once in a while just to go for lunch, I think, especially now that winter is not here. Will I find new employment before my benefits run out? A lot of work questions today. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, job list. I've been there before. As we can see, I kind of made my own. Not always the easiest to do. I'm actually a little bit worried. Again, unless you're willing to travel, but it could mean traveling to, say, perhaps Ignace or even Dryden. If you're willing to compromise, first of all, your field, you'll find work in your area almost immediately. But if you're looking for something in your field, however, there again, I do feel that we are looking at a bit of time before you're going to find something that's rewarding, both financially and spiritually, I guess is the best way to put that. Now, it is showing here what is not being compromised, okay, because of the big question mark. It's not going to show me where the compromise is. It is, however, showing that maybe as benefits start running out, we can't be quite as selective. I'm sorry if that sounds blunt, but maybe we can't be quite as selective. I remember at one time that, you know, I literally put it out there that I will scrub anybody's bathroom that is necessary just to pay my rent, okay? Sometimes we have to do that. It's not always the best. I'm a hotel and restaurant manager by profession, and yet I found myself mopping floors. There's nothing wrong with that. It's honest work, and as long as it's honest, maybe it's worth looking at taking it until at least we find something else, because in your field, in your area, unfortunately, I don't feel there's going to be something that's right there in front of you even by the end of this year. That's kind of a harsh thing for me to have to say, but it does feel you could be looking at a little bit more than a year to get into your field in that area. However, if you're willing to go as far as Kenora, yeah, that's what they're showing me, the big fish. Okay, so if you're willing to go as far as Kenora, I do feel that you would definitely find something there, but it does feel like you would be choosing to leave somebody behind if you do that. And it does perhaps feel like a teenage child. So that's a pretty big thing that you've got to weigh out. Earlier in the show, we talked about you still decide your destiny. The cards are telling you there's much better work for you in Kenora, but the cards are also saying that you're compromising leaving someone at home. So you see where the decision will have to come with you, because only you can decide what's going to be right for you. Okay, but there's the two sides of that coin. Can you find more work before your benefits run out? Yes, if you're willing to relocate. So sadly, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of work in the area. Summertime's always better in this neck of the woods, of course, but it does show here, if you want to compromise what you're trained to do and pick up other work for now, even for a year or so, it does say that you will get work before your benefits run out, because here's the peace and harmony card. Okay, so Miss Jobless in Sioux Lookout, I certainly hope that that leaves you not jobless for too much longer, but it does feel like your benefits are starting to come to an end. Okay, and it does look like you're looking for work, so it doesn't feel like you're not doing stuff about it. You are, but we may just have to compromise that a little bit and take something that perhaps we maybe don't necessarily want to do forever. Okay, we've all been there, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, as long as it's honest work. Like I said, it's good work.
The proceeding was a community access program. Shaw is proud to support local producers and share local voices, ideas, and opinions. For more information, please visit shawtv.ca. Opinions expressed in this programming do not necessarily reflect the views of Shaw or its employees.